Hi everyone, I'm Mohit, and today I'll be presenting our work from lived experience to insight. This was done in collaboration with my wonderful collaborators from MSR, Purdue, and U Toronto. So many of us would have seen articles like this pretty much regularly these days. And in fact, according to a survey published in Harvard Business Review, seeking therapy and companionship has become the most popular use case of generative AI in 2025. So it becomes crucial to study the psychological impact such use cases could have. Talking about past works, they have looked at various risks posed by generative AI agents, psychological risks due to existing technologies such as social media, and benchmarks which could be used for measuring such risk. But what these past works may have missed is psychological risks are frequently underrepresented. Often risk taxonomies are not designed to gather AI design recommendations, and benchmark-based evaluations often fail to capture the lived experiences of the end users. So in this work, we contribute three ways. We first provide a novel AI psychological risk taxonomy covering AI behaviors, impacts, and context. We present a multi-path vignette framework that can demonstrate how taxonomy should be applied to surface harms and AI design recommendations. And finally, we provide AI design recommendations gathered from our experts during three-session workshop. So this study is divided into two phases. Phase one focuses on developing this taxonomy, how do you do that, etc. Whereas phase two is totally on how do you gather these design recommendations and how do you apply these kind of taxonomies. So this is the method for phase one. We did a large scale survey with participants having lived mental health experience. We then designed our taxonomy, and we then gathered the vignettes which would be used in phase two. So, before I go ahead with the how we conducted the survey and how we analyzed it, I would first like to just spend some time on how we conceptualize psychological risk. Usually what has been done is that AI behavior are usually linked to psychological impact, but we introduce this third concept, which is user context, and how it can exacerbate or mediate behaviors and psychological impact. And you can see an example where refusal of service leads to exacerbation of mental health, which is mediated by anxiety disorder with the end user. For our survey design, we took inspiration from the NIST framework, and we captured many things, behavior, context, and psychological harm. But we also captured the likelihood and temporality. We analyzed the survey responses using open coding and then refined it using thematic analysis. These are some stats. We have much more covered in our paper. We finally ended up with data from 279 participants covering 290 scenarios. Scenario here means behavior, context, and impact along with temporality and other things that we captured. 56% of the data came from female or non-binary participants. Around 60% participants had almost an year or year more than experience with AI. Quickly going through our taxonomy, these are 19 AI behaviors that we surfaced. These are bucketed into 4 broader categories. You can look at our paper for more detailed quotes and everything else. But what I want to highlight is that there are other patterns that we can observe. Like, for example, the one highlighted in purple are those which are more stylistic in nature. Whereas some behaviors are more content driven, which are highlighted in yellow. Now, talking about the psychological impact, we surfaced 21 different negative psychological impacts bucketed into 6 different categories. Again, some other patterns that occurred to us was some are those impacts which occur over time and sort of accumulate. For example, over-reliance is something that could accumulate over time. Then you have some which are more societal level. For example, the one highlighted in purple, friction in human relationships and social withdrawal. Finally, user context, we surface like 15 different contexts. Some of them are individual, for example, what identity they belong to, their past experience with AI. psychological context such as their traits, their internal locus of control, and finally the context of use, which is what intent were they using the AI for, and the environment that they were surrounded in while they were using the AI agents. One of the unique things that this idea of context introduces is how behavior and impact interact with each other. For example, one behavior could lead to multiple impacts and vice versa. And this is exacerbated or mediated by context, as I explained earlier. So for example, here we have a single behavior called providing harmful suggestion. And you can see these stories from John and Leah who have different contexts. And it led to different impacts over them. And we have the other cases covered in our paper as well. But this shows how context plays such a nuanced role in giving us detailed understanding about behaviors and impact. Now, with this understanding, we went to our phase 2, which was how do you get these design recommendations? And this is the method overview. We took our taxonomy. We had 3 sessions with our workshop participants. We gathered design recommendations. And so before coming to the workshop and what we got out of that, I would first connect how we connected phase 1 and phase 2. So as I covered the vignettes, we took the vignettes where behavior led to multiple impacts and vice versa. We created this multi-path vignette framework, a story, where we combined these different vignettes and paths into a common story of Alex. Alex is a 30-year-old man who is diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD. And one evening, Alex feels particularly anxious and decides to seek help from AI conversational agent, hoping to get some immediate support. And this was the scenario which was presented to our workshop participants. You can see the numbers annotated here, and they were really important because that guided our participants on how do you provide actionable recommendations. So for our workshop, we recruited 7 participants from a long-standing technology co-design advisory board. They were all advocates of mental health in technology. And while session 1 focused on, first helping participants to conceptualize psychological risk, session 2 and session 3 talked about what are the immediate impacts that we should address immediately, whereas session 3 focused solely on gathering the design recommendations. So for workshop 3, I'm just covering workshop session 3 here. For session 1 and session 2, you can look at our paper. For session 3, we asked participants on each of these numbered points what AI must never do, what AI can do differently, and what the user could have done differently to avoid the psychological impact. And for analysis, we gathered annotated transcript and stickies, and we iteratively collaborated the themes into design recommendations. I'm covering a subset of design recommendations here. So first was around how do you design safer AI agents. So participants highlighted avoiding making assumptions about user intent goals, setting clear expectations, reminding users of the non-human nature of AI agents. On the other hand, participants also highlighted that it is essential to guide users for effective engagement with AI, where users should be encouraged to provide detailed feedback. They should know when to disengage, and the responsibility ultimately lies with the developer. So talking about the discussion and some open questions for the community, I think one open question that came up was, should AI even respond to mental health queries? Or which aspects should the AI keep in context while answering these sensitive queries? But our findings highlight that there is a need for measures such as temporality, severity, and other concepts that could extend theory-based and quantitative approaches. And to that, multipath vignette presents a really good tool to capture these nuanced between context, behavior, and impact. So with that, I would end my slides. You can check out the paper using QR, and you can know more about me, reach out to me for anything AI and mental. Thank you so much.